I'm Teresa Binken, CEO of National Speakers Bureau Canada and Global Speakers Agency. We envision a world where the sharing of ideas inspires action towards a better future through bringing expert speakers and thought leaders to your conferences and events, whether they are online, in person, or hybrid. Online, as many are these days. And beyond the classic keynote speaker, we also offer a Platform Plus roster of comedians, chefs, hosts, moderators, influencers, and more. And we've seen, especially this fall, organizations reaching out, wanting to hold events like virtual year-end recognition or entertainment events for their teams. And the good news is with virtual, you can do a fairly quick turnaround to host events. So we're hoping this session will give you a sampling of what's possible. So thank you for joining us for this special lighthearted 1-hour Silver Linings edition of our virtual Engage series for a cooking demo with celebrity chef Spice Goddess Bal Arneson to enjoy the lighter side of life with comedian Susan Stewart, and all guided by legendary broadcast host and digital community leader Erica Ehm, who I'm pleased to introduce to you now. When we first approached Erica to be our host MC for the session and explain what we were trying to do, she quickly offered a theme that wonderfully captured what we're striving for at the end of this year. Silver linings. That's the theme. I love a good theme. Those who know me know I'm constantly looking for and highlighting these as part of my gratitude practice, and I loved her idea. And that's just part of what a great host MC can do. Ensure there's a flow and connect a thematic experience to your event. With decades of experience as an iconic TV personality and successful entrepreneur, Erica Ehm has earned a reputation also as a powerful event host and speaker. Whether you know her from her days as a legendary Much Music VJ, as founder of YMC, that's the Yummy Mummy Club, or her newly launched podcast, Reinvention of the VJ, you'll be inspired by her experiences of innovation and reinvention. I'm happy to turn it over to you, Erica.
Thank you so much, Teresa. And thank you so much for inviting me to be the host of today's event. And I want to thank everybody for taking the time to join in today. The idea today, as Teresa said, is to sort of throw our cares away and just have an hour of me time, a time where the crap from out there doesn't matter and we get to think positive thoughts. And to me, that's really important because out of this terrible pandemic has come a lot of wonderful things. And I want to talk about those in our time together today. What would be really awesome for me is if you can jump into the chat room and share some of the, excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. I would love for you to share some of the silver linings that have happened in your life. For example, have you stopped doing your regular commute and now you have two extra hours in your day? Or perhaps you finally cleaned out your basement. Or maybe you sold your house in the city and have moved to the country. I would love to hear about your silver linings. And while you tell me what yours are, I'll tell you mine. So, as you saw with that photograph of me back in the day, the days of Much Music, I used to be a host on Much Music, the nation's music station, from my early 20s till my early 30s. I was at City TV and Much Music for about 13 years. And it was a challenging time because what a lot of people don't know about the job at Much Music was that there was no help. It was basically sink or swim. They threw me in. There were no writers, there were no researchers, there was no wardrobe person, and there were no directors. So basically, we learned how to be a jack of all trade in the world of broadcasting. And I'll tell you something, I learned so much there. But at the same time, I had a little bit of resentment because I felt that a lot of people watching the show saw me as a persona created by Much Music. And I was like, that's not fair. It's all me. And when I left Much Music, 1994, to date myself, I said to myself, I need to reinvent myself. And I need to show people that I'm more than just that girl on Much Music. Now listen, it took me 10 years of hard work. And I did launch YMC, which is one of the largest communities for moms in Canada, and a digital marketing agency. Yay me, great. Business was good. And then boom, COVID hit. Am I right? Business stopped. The world stopped. So obviously my business stopped. Then my friends stopped. My social life stopped. Restaurants stopped. I had to start cooking. I mean, life completely shut down. But there was a silver lining. And what was it? Time. Suddenly I had time. I had time to think and reflect on my life. And I started to think about much music, which happened a long time ago. But I was thinking, man, I am the person I am today because of much music, not despite it, but because of it. And because I had the time and the technology, and because I love talking about reinvention, I decided to create a podcast. So the podcast that Teresa just mentioned actually launches today, ironically. So all of you this party is really a party for my podcast. Like Teresa said, you're coming to talk silver linings. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I'm really excited that I've launched that podcast, because to me, talking about reinvention, in this case, it would be through the lens of all the different on-air hosts on Much Music, will be really interesting. And it's one of the things I like to talk about when I do a lot of speaking engagements. So thank you, Teresa, for giving me this platform to tell everybody about it. And I am going to be reading all of your comments and your chats while we discuss our next guest. So our next guest is, listen, if you want to talk about reinvention and innovation and adapting, the silver lining for me anyway, with the world of technology, is the fact that we now can produce events really quickly and from anywhere. And we can use technology in fun ways to tell interesting stories. And our guest now, or our first speaker, has had a fair amount of practice in it. She has developed a talk that is specifically for a virtual audience like you guys. So our guest today is Susan Stewart. She's a comedian. She spent the past 12 years entertaining and inspiring audiences to see the lighter side of life. She's the co-host of a podcast. Everybody has a podcast now.
Yeah.
It's called Still a Hot Mess. And this past March, Susan released her first comedy album called Relentless. She's the author of not one book, not two books, but 3 books. Her most recent is called You Gotta Laugh, Wit and Wisdom, about not taking life or yourself too seriously. Now, Susan is here to give you a taste of her smash hit virtual program, which is called You Gotta Laugh, a pandemic pick-me-up. And this is just the kind of program that we all need right now during the holiday season, because it's a talk that is packed full of laughs about how our personal and professional lives have changed in 2020. Over to you, Susan.
Well, thank you very much, Erica, and congratulations on the launch of your podcast. I'm delighted and honored to be a part of today's event, and I'm always excited to have a reason to put on makeup. Hey? Yeah, so yeah, thank you very much for having me. Just in case anyone is sitting there watching this right now, thinking to themselves, so what's with the Ellen DeGeneres knockoff on my screen? Just in case anyone was thinking that, just in case there's any confusion about my identity, I think I'll start things off by reintroducing myself. My name is Susan Stewart, and as Erica mentioned, I'm a comedian, author, and speaker. And being a comedian, I'm always trying to see the lighter side of life. And I'm very passionate about helping people see the lighter side of life. Because given all of the adversity that we face, and how often things don't go according to plan, it can be very easy to take things too seriously and have a negative mindset and experience things like anxiety and stress. Yeah, given all of the triggers that surround us every day, I just think it's so important for us to do all that we can to see the humor in things and focus on the positive. You know, with this virus, we have once again been reminded that life can throw us a curveball at any given moment, right? I mean, there we were in early January thinking, yeah, 2020, this is my year. And then there we were around the middle of March thinking, Am I going to have to start wiping my behind with coffee filters? And what will I wear to the living room today? Right? And now here we are in November, hosing down our kids when they come home from school, terrified of sneezing and coughing in public, and secretly excited that large family gatherings likely won't be allowed this Christmas. Yeah, and we're also coordinating our face masks with our outfits. You know, I don't know why people are so against wearing masks. Masks protect you and the people around you, and they protect you from having to talk to people you know in public. I mean, add sunglasses and you're literally in disguise, right? It's safe to do anything, anywhere, even in your hometown. However, after watching how some people wear their masks, I now understand why contraception fails. Now, I'm not sure if you've been doing this, but whenever someone asks me to do something I don't want to do, I say, in a pandemic, and it's worked out pretty well so far. I haven't had to shave my legs or pluck my eyebrows in months. Now, I don't know about you, but I have heard the terms physical distancing and social distancing more than I have heard my own name my entire life. And I'm rather amazed that we haven't shortened these two phrases by now. Like at this point, I'm pretty sure if someone told me that they had been distancing, I would know what they were getting at. Yeah, you'd think that we would be using acronyms by now, but not once has someone said, hey, let's get together soon. We'll SD. Or, hey, want to come over to my backyard and PD? Nope, not once. I guess it's a real sign of the times, as Erica was saying, with our simpler schedules, our slower pace of life, we have more time to say these multiple syllable words, which then got me thinking. I wonder if the young people are using correct spelling and proper punctuation in their text messages now, out of sheer boredom, just to pass the time. Yeah, you gotta laugh. Well, you don't gotta laugh. No, I'm not the boss of you. The thing is you always can. It's always an option. That's the freedom of choice you were born with. I mean, you're always free to choose how you want to perceive, interpret, and respond to your circumstances. I mean, that's the truth. When something happens, you can tell yourself anything. Yeah, you're always free to choose to see the humor in things and focus on what's funny about a situation rather than focus on the negative. Now, even though we were born with this lovely freedom of choice, I know how easy it is to take things too seriously. And what I mean by that is I know how easy it is to take your negative thoughts too seriously. And what I mean by that is, I know how easy it is to get all caught up, all drawn into that negative story playing out in your mind, allowing it to take over your brain and tip you into that downward spiral, leaving you sitting there at the bottom of the rabbit hole. Oh, sure. Oh, yeah, I know. You see, even though I'm a comedian, I will openly admit to you all right now that I have struggled to maintain my sense of humor during this pandemic. Oh yeah, quite honestly, it's been a bit touch and go around here, a bit up and down. I too have been riding the Corona coaster. I'll have 3 solid days where I feel like I'm finding my groove, feeling pretty well adjusted. And then that's typically followed by a sudden unexpected dip into what I call the hell zone, leaving me roughly armpit deep into whatever alcohol I can find, drafting long goodbyes in case things don't pan out, and snuggling some of my nice shoes because I miss them so much. Yeah, sometimes I'm really tempted to reply to someone and say, your email is not finding me well. Yeah. Working at home for the past 8 months, it's been tough. It's been stressful for a lot of people. But you know who's been winning? You know who the happy ones are? The dogs. Yeah, the dogs are so happy. The dogs think that we all quit our jobs in order to spend more time with them. And of course, our cats think that we all got fired for being the losers they always knew we were. Yeah, the way that we live and the way that we work has changed dramatically thanks to COVID-19. The other day, a friend of mine asked me if I've started doing something during the pandemic that I want to continue doing after all is said and done. I told her that I would like to continue asking people to mute themselves. I know people are really missing things like giving hugs, going on trips, attending concerts. But you know what I really miss? Phone calls. Hey, remember those? Phone calls. Yeah, now everybody wants to meet on Zoom. And it's so much work. Now you have to clean your house and do a makeover every time somebody wants to talk to you. Just because it exists doesn't mean we have to use it, right? There are other things that exist that we don't use. Can't we treat Zoom like therapy or CrossFit or veganism? Hey, right? They exist too, but we don't use them because there's so much work. I know at this point, we can't tell if we work at home or live at work. You spend your day at the office yelling at your kids to be quiet, removing your cat off your desk, and coordinating your breaks with your Amazon deliveries. And at the end of the day, you close up your laptop, move 11 inches, and start making dinner. Yeah, balancing work and life used to be the goal. Now it's trying to find the difference. Yeah, you gotta laugh. Well, again, you don't gotta. It's just that your stress level will be much lower if you do. You see, the thing is laughter releases tension. And it triggers what's called the relaxation response, which is basically the opposite of the stress response. And science has proven that after the relaxation response kicks in and you physically feel calmer, well, then your outlook and your mindset follow suit. Yeah, things don't appear as difficult or as daunting as they once did. And your thoughts actually become more positive. That's the profound power of laughter. It can literally change your mind about the world around you. Now, while having a sense of humor is very important, I do think it's important to focus on the positive, to see the silver lining of a change or a challenge. I believe good things come out of bad things. And I think one of the biggest perks to staying at home for the last 8 months is we haven't had to see the people we don't like. Well, except the ones we married and gave birth to. I'm kidding. Kidding, of course. I actually have one son. He's turning 2 tomorrow. But since money is a bit tight right now, we're not going to tell him. Yeah, we don't have to. And I know you're thinking, damn, I wish I thought of that. Could have saved some cash. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's definitely been a very challenging year for parents. It's just not natural or healthy to be around your children this much. Oh, the other day, my one friend, she was at the end of her rope. She's like, that's it. I'm done. I quit. I'm selling my kid on eBay. I said, don't be silly. You made him. Sell him on Etsy. Before 2020, parents would say, it takes a village. And now parents say, it takes a vineyard. A little bit of wine or a lot of wine being consumed. Yeah, you gotta laugh. Well, again, you don't gotta. It's just that you'll be more resilient when you do. The thing is, when stress sets in, and it will. When stress sets in, I know we often try to heal the stress by fixing things. And while that is a worthy endeavor, I just think it's important not to underestimate the healing powers of just choosing to do things that boost your mood and improve your outlook, like having a good laugh with friends or watching something funny on TV. There's a lot of talk about resiliency this day, in these days, and I would say my definition of resiliency is really our ability to get back up after life knocks us down. Yeah, it's all about having tools in the toolbox that can help you, get out of the rabbit hole. And I strongly believe our level of resiliency is profoundly determined by our willingness to recharge. And that is the operative word there, our willingness to recharge. You know, time isn't something that we find, it's something that we make. So now more than ever, there I said it, now more than ever, I do think it's very important that we make time for things that release the tension, that trigger our relaxation response, that change our minds when we're taking things too seriously. Now, of course, there are other things that we turn to for comfort when facing adversity and uncertainty. Is anyone else out there numbing their pain with food? Yeah, yesterday I took a nap to stop eating, and I only have 3 chocolates left in my advent calendar. And I recently discovered that every pizza is personal sized if you really believe in yourself. Yeah, like many people, I have gained some weight during the pandemic. Oh, and it's frustrating. My goal for 2020 was to lose 10 pounds. Yeah, only 17 more to go. Now, because we all manage stress differently, as I see it, half of us are going to come out of this pandemic in the best shape of our lives, speaking some foreign language fluently with a house full of completed craft projects. And the other half of us are going to come out of it about 20 pounds heavier, addicted to TikTok. Which team will you be on? Now, speaking of TikTok, like a lot of other people, I have spent a lot of time on social media during the pandemic. And I don't know about you, but I have been just blown away at all the people cooking and baking, singing and dancing. It's like I've been watching Quarantine's Got Talent. Yeah, you gotta laugh. Well, again, you don't gotta. It's just that you can. You always can. It's always an option. That's the freedom of choice you were born with. You're always free to choose how you want to respond to things. And hey, listen, I know seeing the humor in things isn't our default response when facing adversity or uncertainty. But see, the cool thing is when stress sets in, and it will, you can always choose again. You can always choose to tell yourself like an entirely different story that lifts you up rather than drags you down. You know, you can always change the lenses through which you're viewing your circumstances. Yeah, you can always choose to focus on something, different, like what's funny about a situation. And I do think there is something funny about everything, even the really tough stuff. They're predicting a rise in divorces as a result of the pandemic. And let me be very clear with you people, I am not going to be part of that statistic. Absolutely not, because I'm already divorced, got that done in 2019. Now, I am thinking about dating again. Well, not to get remarried, but to eventually endure an extremely painful breakup that kickstarts weight loss. Yeah, that's how I'm going to lose this COVID weight. Yeah, I just need some personal upheaval to wipe out my appetite for a while. Ha, yeah, well, you got to love a good crisis diet, right? It's like, I'm an emotional wreck, but damn it, I look good. I'm so stressed, but I'm skinny. Well, based on my experience, dating is just wondering why someone is single and then figuring it out. Now, let's admit it. Even when there isn't a pandemic going on, one of the toughest things about life are relationships, right? I mean, if you ask me, the very best time in a relationship is at the very beginning, before you've met and you're single. I mean, that's when I'm at my best. That's when I thrive. So, in closing, we obviously have the holidays coming up. And listen, I'm not a singer, but if I were, this year I would release a holiday album featuring some of people's favorite festive songs with a slight twist, such as, it's beginning to look a lot like we'll be isolating this Christmas. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow, because there's nowhere to go. Joy to the world. 2020 is almost over. I'll be home for Christmas. because I can't go anywhere else. All I want for Christmas is a vaccine. That works. Deck the halls with absolutely nothing because no one's coming over. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, but this might be the year we get flammable snow. Baby, it's cold outside, but that's okay. We're not allowed out there. And lastly, I saw Mummy kissing Santa Claus, and now I hope she gets tested. You gotta laugh. Well, thanks very much for having me today, and I will pass it back to Erica Ehm.
That was so funny. Did anyone ever tell you that you're actually very funny?
Thank you very much, Erica. That's very exciting to hear from you because I watched you growing up, and now to hear that from Erica Ehm is very exciting. So thank you.
I'm going to steal the line about selling my child on Etsy. Well, she's 16. Do I need to say anything else? So if anybody wants to buy a 16-year-old daughter, you know, she does wicked makeup. So she's for sale. Anyone.
Okay.
So
a disclaimer, you'd probably just have to include a disclaimer of something, right? Of some
yeah,
sort.
messy room not included. Or yes.
There we go. There we go.
Susan, tell me how you've had to adapt your presentation for virtual audience. I mean, you don't hear the laughter.
Yeah, yeah, good question. It was, it was tough, to pivot. I have to say that I probably, if I'm being completely honest, I went through, that time where you resist the reality and you kind of do a little cry and a pout. I missed my audiences greatly. To be on stage is my true love. So, there was that time where I had to really warm up to the idea. Now I just kind of think of myself as a TV personality, a news anchor with maybe some good punchlines. So I really like, for me, it's all about playing to that little green light at the top of my laptop and just reaching my audience as best I can through that engagement level and the energy.
You did a great job. I felt it.
Thanks.
I love the way you worked with the camera. Before I let you go, tell me a silver lining that you've experienced because of COVID.
Well, I don't mean to steal your answer, but I think I echo your sentiments. It's about having a bit more time and opportunity for other projects. So yeah, I've been able to put out a lot of content on the podcast. Sometimes we put out an episode, per week, because hey, why not? And I teamed up with a candle company.
That's random.
Yes, it is very random, Erica. But see, what happened was, my buddy started making, scented candles at the beginning of the pandemic. And so we got talking around Thanksgiving and I said, hey, what about funny Christmas candles? So those jokes at the end on my holiday album, those jokes are actually available on scented candles.
That's awesome.
At eptoncandlecompany.com. Yeah.
That's
so,
awesome.
these, like you said, these little things pop up and you're like, I have time to do that. And it's been really fun. So,
well, it been really fun listening to you and meeting you. And now get off the camera because it's
all right.
Turn again. Okay.
You go, girl. All right.
It's
thanks.
One of the things that I love about this concept of silver lining is looking at all the innovation. I don't know about you, but I'm an entrepreneur. And so I'm always looking for what's new and exciting. And since we went into lockdown, the world has had to be innovative. I mean, I'm not funny. I'm being serious. The vaccine, the speed in which this vaccine is being created is incredible. And it's because there is this new sense of collaboration between these pharma companies and the government, and things are happening at an unprecedented speed. And I'm just hoping that the bureaucracy and the discord between companies disappears now, because we see that it could be done. And hello, virtual healthcare. Come on, talk about a silver lining. Who likes to go to the doctor? Now we just call up our doctor and we're done. So that's innovation. And I want to read out some of the really great silver linings that you've been sharing with me. So Kristen says that she's getting more sleep. Shayna says that she gets to spend more time with her daughter during her really important developmental years at around, I think she's about 2 years old. Patricia says that her husband was away 3 weeks of every month. And now they're working together at home. How nice is that? That's certainly a silver lining. I love this, that Karen says that she takes a break and walks her dog. Beverly says that she gets uninterrupted time. And Jenny gets a break from all the travel that she has to do from work and stay home and just be in the moment. And Jenny got a rescue dog. I hear everybody going, "Aw, that's sweet." And Krishna says that she walks during conference calls and can get healthy. Annabelle says that she's had to do a lot of virtual learning. And I think that's a really important idea, that all of us now have the opportunity. I really am an opportunist, always looking for cool things to do. This is a time for all of us to learn new skills. And one of the skills that I really should learn, but never will, sorry, is cooking. And I mean, a lot of people have developed new hobbies. I told my kids I would learn to cook. It hasn't happened yet, but I really do want to. But I really have learned how to eat. And I eat better than I've ever eaten before. And if we want to learn how to cook, there has to be sort of a zest for life, I think, and a passion. And this next speaker has all of that in spades. Chef Bal Arneson has built an empire based on the love of cooking. She's an international TV host. She's an award-winning author. She is a celebrity chef with a company that has earned so far $30 billion. It's a food service company called the Compass Group. She's hosted two TV shows which have aired globally, the Spice Goddess, which aired on the Food Network, and Spice of Life, which aired on the US Cooking Channel. And today we are in for a treat. I really think that Zoom needs a sort of a smelling feature, because I imagine that the recipe that Chef Bal is going to make for us is going to be so delicious. She's making us golden chai, and she developed this recipe with the Mayo Clinic. So I'm not going to tell you any more. I'll let her take it away, and we can all learn how to make this delicious recipe together virtually. Hi, Chef Bal.
Hi, Erica. Thank you so much for such a kind introduction. Thank you, everyone, for joining me in my kitchen. I am so excited to be sharing our next few minutes with you. So the recipe I am going to be sharing today is called Golden Chai. Golden is going to come from the color beautiful turmeric, and the chai is my own spice blend that I've created that has amazing amount of health benefits and a wonderful aroma. And as Erica said, I created this recipe with my partnership with Mayo Clinic. And as you know, Mayo Clinic is a mecca when it comes to new research and the wellness lifestyle. So I am so thrilled because they asked me, they said, Bal, can you come up with something that we can feature in our cafeterias? So I created this recipe. So right now, this recipe is served all Mayo Clinic hospitals in the US, providing this recipe for the doctors and the nurses and the healthcare workers, and most importantly, for the patient care menu as well. So I am so excited to share this with you. So 3 takeaway for this recipe is that number 1, I'm going to talk about the turmeric and how to best absorb turmeric in your system. And secondly, this recipe meets all dietary needs. And the third point here is I'm going to teach you how to make chai spice so you don't have to actually wait in the long lineup of Starbucks to get a chai spice. And this spice is absolutely amazing. So let's go to my pantry and then I'll pick some spices from there. And this is my backyard. You see my mountains covered with snow right now. I grew up in India. Every time I see snow, I get so cold. But right now I live in a beautiful British Columbia. But this is the place inspires me. Every time I'm thinking about making recipes, I was saying I just made a fennel creme brulee, and I just love this. It really, really inspires me. So I have a question for you. So which spice you cannot live without? So you have a chat here. I would love to hear which spice you actually have to have with you or you can't survive. And I can't survive without all of these. I need them all actually for myself. So for the chai spice, I'm going to have some star anise. I'm going to have some fennel, some green cardamom and brown cardamom. See, these spices can't wait to be in my tray. And I'm going to have some nutmeg and some cloves and some ginger powder and cinnamon. So let's go back to creating a chai blend. See, right now, this is the time, it's a very unusual time right now we are experiencing. And this is time to show our care through wellness, through food, and take care of our friends and our family members, our neighbors, most importantly, our colleagues and team members who are working in isolation. And so I thought, what is the better way to show our colleagues and team members than sharing the power of food? And that's going to strengthen your immunity. It's going to give you wellness lifestyle, and that's going to help clear your mind at the same time. So I really, really believe in the power of food. And so my power actually comes from these spices. So here are the chai spice blend I have. So this is the spice blend I have in my kitchen, but you don't have to follow the exact same recipe. This is the fun thing about my spice blends is that if you like more floral flavor, then you can add cardamom to it. So I'm gonna have my cardamom pods, and green cardamom is called actually the queen of the spices. So I'm gonna have few green cardamom pods in my mortar pestle. Let me just bring this closer. Few green cardamom pods. I'm gonna have some star anise. The star anise is gonna give a beautiful licorice flavor, and look how beautiful the star anise is. I'm gonna add some cloves and star anise. It's gonna add really nice, clove give a really nice numbing properties. So it's really, really good. Every time when I was growing up, I would have a toothache, my mom would take a clove and then she would put it on my gums because it would reduce the pain. So the next one is the fennel seeds. I'm gonna have some fennel seeds in my chai, and fennel seeds is really good for digestive system. So people often have fennel candy after eating Indian food. And the next one is I'm gonna have some powder that's already mixed. I'm gonna have some ginger powder. Ginger is so good for nausea. So I'm gonna have some ginger. And then for really nice warm flavors, I'm gonna have I have some cinnamon bark in it. So, and all you just have to do is you can add some nutmeg. Again, whatever flavor you like, whatever flavor like follows your heart. And that's the spice that I blend. Sometimes I just go with my mood. Okay, what do I feel like, right? Like during fall, I add more cinnamon, I add more nutmeg because it's like, has like warm flavors that it gives to your chai. So what I've done here, so I've already mixed that right here. This is my chai spice blend that I just made a little bit earlier. You can have it in a coffee grinder, but if you make this in a coffee grinder, please do not make do your coffee beans in the blender, because your coffee is going to have like a chai latte flavor in it. So I have two coffee grinders. So one is only strictly for coffee, other one is for my spices. So this is what chai spice. So let's talk about how this recipe meets the dietary needs of all flavors. So right now, let's talk about milk. So I have regular milk, like 2% milk, and I have a coconut milk. So if you can't have dairy, you can have, for this recipe, you can have coconut milk, you can have almond milk, you can have cashew milk. But guess what? If you cannot have nuts, you can have oat milk. That works beautifully as well. But here, all the flavors are coming from the spice, the chai spices. So whatever liquor you use, it's going to be totally fine. And I grew up in a very, very tiny village, and we drank bison milk. Can you believe that? So we had bison milk, so I love like a 2% of milk. So I'm just gonna use 2% milk. So here I have a little bit of water going already. I'm just gonna add some milk to it. So 2% milk. So let's talk about the turmeric now. So here I have fresh turmeric. So my question to you guys is, I know you have a chat here, would love to hear how many of you actually have seen fresh turmeric. Oh, look at this. Look how beautiful this color is. This is like the nicest color ever. I just love, love, love turmeric. So how many of you have actually cooked with the turmeric? And how many of you actually cooked with fresh turmeric? Would love to hear that. So there's no scientific evidence actually if the fresh turmeric is better or the dried turmeric is better. So I use kind of like both of them. So right now I'm gonna just use a regular turmeric. So I'm just gonna have a teaspoon of that. So with the turmeric, to digest the turmeric. So my second takeaway here is to digest the turmeric, you have to, so a curcumin releases in the turmeric. To release the curcumin and absorb in your body, you need to have two things. One is a peppercorn. Peppercorn releases the curcumin, and second one is some kind of fat. So I'm using coconut oil in it, and that's going to use the same thing. So a little bit coconut oil, a little bit peppercorn is going to help release it. And many people sometimes they just take regular, take regular turmeric and like turmeric capsule with water. It does not do the same thing. So here's some peppercorn in it. So regular turmeric doesn't do, just a capsule doesn't do the same thing. So curcumin, to release it, you need to have oil, you need to have peppercorn. So I'm gonna have some black tea bags in it. And let's have my chai spice blend that I had it earlier. I'm just gonna have a little bit of that. And to taste for the flavor, I'm gonna add some honey for some sweetness. But you can use, if you don't like anything sweetened, you don't have to use it because spices have amazing, amazing flavor and aroma. You don't need that. So then the big chunk of ginger, I absolutely love ginger so much. Actually, I love ginger so much. I'm growing a ginger in the back, like this big green thing is a ginger. I had like a ginger was sitting there and there's some green stuff was coming out of it, like root was coming out of it. I got some soil, I put it in, and next thing I had this like ginger, massive ginger coming out of it. I just kind of wait to harvest that one. So I'm just gonna have my, so I'm gonna add some ginger in it. So all the spices are in right now. So I'm gonna bring it to a boil, and this is what and then this is ready. You strain it and then you drink it. And just gonna bring it to boil, let it simmer a little bit. One of the things I noticed is when I still get so many emails from the doctors and the nurses as well, that they like when this one doctor said to me, like he was in a, like when they do surgery, like they're on their feet for 14 to 16 hours sometimes. So this is really helping reducing the inflammation. That's what turmeric is for, reducing the inflammation, as well as it helps you sleep really well, and it gives you beautiful glow on your face as well. One of the things I recently did with the doctors at the UCI hospital, we did a virtual cooking in my own kitchen. So I sent them a recipe. So they were all in their own home with the recipes, with their partners and their kids. They were all cooking and showing and sharing. This was absolutely, absolutely amazing. So I just love doing that. So while my milk is boiling, so Erica, please let me know if we have any response or questions from our viewers.
Yes, absolutely. Well, the first thing that came in is from Liz, and Chef Bal, Liz is all of us, because she said, "Oh my God, I want your kitchen."
Oh, yeah.
About your gorgeous, forget the recipe for a second. Your place is so beautiful, and I'm trying not to be envious, but tell me a little bit about your kitchen.
Well, you know, I grew up in a very, very small village. I shared a house of like, I don't know, 14 family members, and we didn't have any kitchen. So my kitchen, we had a barbecue pit under a mango tree. I kid you not. Like, that's where I learned all my recipes, how to cook my recipes with my mom, squatting on a floor. So I had no kitchen. So one of the things I always wanted was to have my dream kitchen. So when I came here to Canada, so I was so blessed to have my path led to this amazing, phenomenal career. And I talked to my daughter. I'm like, you know what? We've done TV shows, we've done cookbooks, and I walked on the red carpet with Oprah Winfrey. We are opening restaurants at the hospitals. But I really, I always wanted to do was build a kitchen. So I took a piece of paper, I kid you not, I started with the island. So my island is what, 15, 16 feet long?
Wow.
So this is kind of how it inspired. When I was maybe 4 or 5 years old, I wanted to have a kitchen where I can cook and host. And now I get to not only cook and host here, I get to share my passion, my food, my recipes with through my virtual cookings I do on a weekly basis with the doctors and people. So my kitchen is like my soul. This is kind of like
You are such, you love life. It's so clear. I can see it. And it's interesting for me watching you in your kitchen doing this virtual event. It seems like the transition was very easy for you because you've done television for so long that you know transferring to these kinds of events is becomes second nature to you.
Oh, it is. It's absolutely amazing. What I love about this one is that here I get to talk to people. So when I film my shows, it's just the cameras are staring at me and I have to just deliver. But here, I just love, like, as I was saying with the doctors last week at the UCI hospital, the children were on it. They were waving their hand, like, look at my girl, like, look at my ginger. So this is so interactive. I just absolutely love it. And just being in my own home, it's really amazing. Yes.
So there are comments here for you, which I'd like to share. First of all, National Speakers Bureau put into the comments the actual recipe for the golden chai. So if anybody is interested in making this at home, which you should, the recipe is here. And Jean-Marie says that your life story is riveting. And Susan says that she uses fresh turmeric every morning with ginger and cinnamon and pepper, and she loves it because it's great anti-inflammatory. And she also says it's a great treat with honey. So you're right. This is, I think that our audience sort of is oh, I want to try that. That looks so good. I can't concentrate. That looks so good.
It's just going to taste amazing.
It looks so good. And if I were to drink a cup of that, I will feel better immediately? Or how long do you need to be ingesting something like this for in order for the effects to hit me?
I think, well, immediately, let's see what happens to me when I drink this immediately. Oh, I just feel like I've gone to my mom's, you know, in my village right there, like so warm and so soothing. And so, so the evidence behind is that that between 4 to 6 weeks, you will notice a tremendous amount of difference. And that's what feedback I'm getting from the nurses and the doctors and people who are trying this. After 4 and 6 weeks, no inflammation. They because of understanding on their feet. So there's hardly any inflammation, and their sleeping pattern is gone so amazing. They sleep without any stress. So then when they wake up, they wake up really fresh. And there is just so much evidence right now. Again, as I was saying, the turmeric, even Dr. Sanjay Gupta on CNN was talking about the health benefit of the turmeric, and many doctors prescribe turmeric right after the chemo to reduce the inflammation. So there's so much. So I would say within 2 or 3 weeks, you will notice the huge difference. Again, really, I kid you not, for like you will get this beautiful glow on the face. Like turmeric does that to you. Just don't get it on your clothes. Don't get anything on white because you have to throw it out.
Emily and Liz both say that they love your energy, and I have to agree with that. But what's interesting is that you are an NSB speaker, so you can definitely show different types of recipes, but you also are a speaker. You don't always do just cooking demonstrations. What else do you talk about?
Well, I grew up in India, in a very poor village. I went to bed hungry for the first 13 years of my life, but I was the fattest poor child because I used to steal food from people's homes. And that's how my love affair with the food began. And then I came here when I don't know how old I am. My date of birth, no one kept track of my date of birth. So I kind of go along with whatever the crowd is. I'm like, oh, in my 20s, I'm in my 30s, depending on where my kids are, if my kids are with me. So I came here by an arranged marriage, and so my life is a very inspiring story, and I'm very proud of the decisions and the choices I've made in my life. They were not easy ones, extremely challenging. Once I was disowned from my family when they found out that I was going to leave my arranged marriage husband. I'm like, well, that's okay. I can do it. I can do it in Canada. I knew I could do it in Canada. In India, there's no way I could have done it. So I went back to school. I learned English. I cleaned people's homes. And today I have my master's in education. And I have worked, with Hollywood, collaborated with Oprah Winfrey. My kids are amazing. And I just have own several properties, and I built my empire. And I'm so blessed. So I talk about women's strength, that people, like humans, have strength. This, like, even right now, the challenges we are having right now, we are all coming together. We human adapt so easily, and we work hard, and there's something innate in us, and that's why we didn't stay in the caves centuries ago. We got out of the caves and we worked hard, and women and men, humans, are the most amazing thing has ever happened to this world. And
yes,
I think
you're exactly talking about the idea of the silver lining, really, which is how it has forced us to think differently and reimagine and reinvent. So Chef Bal, what has your silver lining been during COVID this year?
Well, my silver lining is more so my neighbor's silver lining, actually, because I'm not traveling as often. I was traveling like every week. Because we are launching at my restaurant's concept in 1,100 hospitals in next year and following year. So we've been working very hard for that. So now I'm not traveling. I'm still doing virtual cooking on a weekly basis, and I am cooking. I'm creating recipes at home. My neighbors are very happy because all the leftover food goes to them every Wednesday and every Friday. Those are my 2 days of cooking. They are so excited. So they have a silver lining.
I've considered moving to Vancouver, and that could be a reason to push me to move there. Absolutely. Chef Bal, thank you so much for sharing your beautiful gift with us, the recipe and your spirit. You are a lovely person inside and out. And I would highly advise anyone to invite you to a party. All right, we'll see you later.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I want to go back to Teresa for a second, and to thank everybody from National Speakers Bureau and Teresa for inviting all three of us to celebrate today the silver linings. And I'm going to reiterate what I said earlier, which is I acknowledge we are living through a really challenging time. This is when we need connection more than ever. And this is when we need celebration more than ever. And I know the NSB team is ready to help you find the right people to tell the right stories and really create that connection amongst your teams. I know that it would mean a lot. It really was very, emotional for me to be a part of today's conversation, because I'm a very optimistic person, and I love sharing happy stories, and it was one today. So thanks to everybody for joining in today. Over to you, Teresa.
Thank you, Erica, Bal, and Susan. It was even more delightful than we hoped. So thank you so much for giving so much of yourselves and giving us a reminder about the importance of looking for the positive and finding the silver linings. We get to appreciate more the warmth and the health benefits of food. I have my chai. I don't know that you can see it, but my cup also says a cup of tea solves everything. So some days it feels that way to hold the warmth in my hands. And the power of levity and how it makes us feel, especially in these COVID times, to dress up a little bit, prepare for a theme, just in a fun kind of way, and laugh out loud, even if you're at home. These kinds of sessions can be done where you can see others on your team as well, or your members, so that you can get another level of energy. But it's been so great to see the comments in the chat where people are feeling connected that way. And Erica, you continue to innovate your way through any stage of life. So looking forward to today's launch of your podcast. I know I will be listening, as will many others. So congratulations again on that. It's been a wonderful hour, and we look forward to staying in touch with everyone. If we can help you with your year-end recognition events or other events for your team, your members, or your clients, please do reach out to us. And we hope you stay well and keep looking for those silver linings. Thanks.